Well, I did it again. I bought another broken gaming PC. It was originally listed for 400 USD OBO. I was able to get it for just over 300 bucks, including shipping, and it sports an Intel Core i5-11400F, a 500 gig NVMe, and an NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1650. So yeah, not the best deal. In fact, even if this shipped known working, it still wouldn't really make a lot of sense to spend $300 on this combination of hardware. 1650 is not that great of a graphics card anymore, especially for modern games, and a Core i5-11400F is pretty much the most bare bones Core i5 you could have gotten from the 11th generation. This CPU, by the way, being an F SKU means it doesn't even have integrated graphics. To most, that probably won't matter, but to someone who likes to video edit with Premiere, not having an IGP is another kick in the teeth. So this is less about the value of the rig and what I paid for it, and more about whether or not we can actually fix it going in completely blind. The seller listed the original MSRP at $799 US, and the condition as 4 parts or repair, unused, could not get to power on, could need a new power switch or motherboard, see pictures for what is included. And of course, some of those photos are what you're seeing here. So look, this could really only go one of two ways. You never really know with these eBay rigs, and I want us to focus again less on the value aspect of this. I'm not trying to flip it for a profit. I'll probably just end up giving it away. I just love the adventure of diving into like a broken eBay rig without knowing much about it at all, much about its history or anything, and seeing if we can in fact get it back up and running, and if so, what it takes to do so. Either way you slice it, it is sure to be an interesting one, and I hope you will stay with me.
Are you sitting on a gaming PC without an activated copy of Windows? Forget $100+ retail keys. Instead, snag an OEM Windows 10 or 11 key for a fraction of the price to unlock the full potential of the OS. They'll also remove those pesky activation watermarks. Click the links below to get started today and easily activate with your key under the Activation tab within Windows Settings. And be sure to use our special offer code SKGS for a sweet discount on a variety of options, including Windows 10 and 11, Pro and Home, and more.
Let's jump straight into this, shall we? Go ahead and slice through all this tape. I'm curious how this was packaged as well. I mean, apart from what I see on the outside, and this does look to be packaged with care. It does have a lot of fragile logos all over it. Not that that helps anything on the shipping side, but it's the thought that counts. We've got some styrofoam. Okay, that's not bad. We have a binder with a certificate of authenticity. All right. This certifies this PC is an authentic MEK Hero gaming machine assembled in the USA. I will say it is nice. They also threw in the binder. This, I'm assuming, came with the rig. You can see on this page here, we have a breakdown of all the specifications. If you're interested, you can pause and look through them. This page here is very appreciated. So many folks make this mistake when they have discrete cards installed, so we'll be sure to follow that. The next page, I believe, has warranty information, which I'm very curious about because this rig is older. I wonder if the warranty, if I can turn the page here, I wonder if the warranty is still in effect. I doubt it. So it looks like 3 years of labor on the original configuration, 1 year limited parts, and then lifetime tech support. Ooh, we should put this to the test.
We're sorry. The number you are trying to reach is no longer in service.
Guess I should have seen that one coming. Anytime you see a lifetime warranty, they're not talking about your lifetime. They're talking about the lifetime of the product or service, sometimes the company, it just depends. Does look like we also get our bag of goodies, including an RGB controller from the looks of it. And here is the rig. I've got to say, first impressions, this thing is super clean. Either somebody took their time deep cleaning this before they packaged it up for us, or this went relatively unused for most of its life. A little bit of dust on the tempered glass panel, not a huge deal, but inside, this looks more than acceptable for a rig this old. Now, some things I've noticed right away, I'm sure you have too, a single stick of DDR4, it's just not really acceptable, but this is what you find in cheaper pre-builds. And the power supply, a Tough Power GX1 500 watt unit from Thermaltake. This is roughly a C tier according to Cultist. Not the end of the world for a more budget system, but definitely not a great power supply. Could be the reason why the system doesn't power on. Speaking of, why don't we try powering it on? That is what we expect to be the issue after all. Apparently the system doesn't respond at all when the power button is clicked. We've got power on at the rear. Let's try the button. Yep, a whole lot of nothing. I was gonna try manually jumping the power pins next, but I just noticed the JFP1 header is not on this side of the board, it's actually toward the left. You know, it's actually way over here. The camera's not even focused on that, so let me change focus. We wanna be, yep, that, I still can't really see it from that angle. Anyway, looks like, you know what, we don't even have, unless this is flipped upside down, we don't even have the power cable connected to the power pins at this header. I know this is gonna be tough to see. I don't wanna remove the graphics card yet because I don't wanna really touch anything else in the system as we try to fire this up for the first time. But you can see those two pins there right by this finger are for power on. It's the power switch that connects to the front of the case. And yeah, this is disconnected. So of course our power button's not gonna work. I wonder what happens though if we try to manually jump them. Wow, this is like really tough to do, really tight spaces. Oh, it just powered on. No, this is gonna be a shorter video than I thought. Let me see if I can drop the ISO a bit here. Yeah, system fired up. Could this really be then just as simple as connecting the power button? This was the problem that was reported. The rig wouldn't fire on at all. The power button didn't seem to work. The power supply was suspected to be dead because of the symptom, but it likely just came down to a couple of power pins not being connected. Yeah, it took like 3 seconds to fix. But let's not get our hopes up just yet, because if it doesn't post, then we have another set of issues to deal with. I'm not sure if this rig has ever been used before at this point, or if it's even gonna have Windows on the, all right, looks like a fresh install of Windows as well. We are just winning with this rig. I mean, again, ignoring the price I paid for it, we'll break this down a bit later since, well, a good chunk of this video, I imagine, is not going to exist since we don't have to troubleshoot, but this is a much better result than I was expecting. My luck on eBay is usually pretty trash. You know, I can see why this cable might have come loose, maybe during transport, because there's not a lot of slack on it and it keeps fighting me. Trying to get this reconnected so we don't have to worry about this anymore. I suppose it won't hurt at this point to remove the graphics card for a better view, but you can see there, yeah, for some reason, only the power switch cable was disconnected from the header. That's gonna be, again, a very quick fix. Man, it's pretty tight. And there's not a lot of slack on this cable either. So that's what I was trying to explain in the last clip. Like, it's possible during shipping that this just kind of slipped out and the others remained in place. And so to the original, let's say, buyer, if it came this way, they would think the system was totally bricked when it just came down to one of these. And to that end, I am rather convinced at this point that the rig was in fact unused for pretty much its entire life, because this graphics card looks spotless. I don't think anyone would have taken the time to fully disassemble this and deep clean it like we have in our PCDC playlist. It's not really worth it to the average eBay seller. And so, yeah, either this thing died shortly after being received, or it was dead on arrival, and it just kind of sat until somebody like myself came and swooped it up. And I didn't know this sooner, but this motherboard also comes with a set of debug LEDs. Would have come in very handy had this computer had more issues. You don't see this too often with cheaper pre-builds.
To set up your device using a screen reader, turn on narrator by pressing Windows plus Control plus Enter. For more accessibility features, press Windows plus U, or select the accessibility icon in the bottom corner.
Okay. I forgot that this thing had a built-in speaker. Now, for the sake of transparency, and given the fact that this PC took approximately no effort and $0.00 to fix, I wanted to extend an opportunity for the seller to issue a refund for this PC. If they wanted the rig back, maybe they could have sold it for more, knowing that it actually works and just needed to have a simple cable reconnected. I wanted to offer them that opportunity because I'm not here to just screw people over and, you know, brag about my wins at the expense of others. So I extended that. I sent them a message on eBay. They replied very quickly and were super cool. They said, hey, thanks for following up. That's amazing. To help keep things streamlined here, you can go ahead and keep it and do that YouTube giveaway. I mentioned that in my original message. Good luck and glad things worked out in a good way. In a way, I don't blame them because you already have a good chunk of cash for what you thought was a broken rig. I kind of overpaid for this. So yeah, not really a shocking revelation there, but it was nice that they replied anyway. Oh, and one other thing I just noticed, the front intake fans are spinning, which is great, but they aren't illuminated. For some reason, the RGB is not working. However, it is working for the rear exhaust fan. I decided to pry the right side panel off. By the way, cable management back here, pretty impressive for a cheaper pre-built. There is a hub that unifies both fan RPM and RGB for each fan, and the rear fan was plugged into port 1. The other 3 that are all intakes were connected to ports 4, 5, and 6. I was thinking maybe this side of the hub for some reason is dead. Turns out the hub is actually port specific, so you have to connect these in ascending order and you can't skip ports along the way. So simply swapping the cables in ports 4, 5, and 6 to ports 2, 3, and 4 actually turned the RGB on. It's something that I think was this way from the factory. I don't know how this slipped through. If you were testing these individually, then you surely would have seen that the RGB in the front was not illuminated, but this was, again, another very simple fix, just something that I kind of wish the builder had noticed before they shipped it. I was very curious, I'm sure some of you are as well, just how good a deal this is. I guess since we can't troubleshoot, let's go ahead and run through some of the numbers that we otherwise wouldn't. So I paid 330-ish USD for this system. And I've gone through and parted out every single component in this rig. I've picked used components, so these are like eBay sale prices today, with the exception of the power supply and the storage drive. The CPU, of course, the Core i5 11400F, selling for around 80 to 90 bucks. I think I priced 90 in for this example. I found an ASRock B560M, which, if I recall, is compatible with the 11th gen Intel chip. This was around $80. A set of Crucial Ballistics DDR4 RGB. I think this is the exact same kit minus 1 DIMM. And what a lot of system integrators will do is actually split these DIMMs up if they're like in a cost-cutting mode, or if they're building, again, cheaper pre-builts like the one we have here. They'll split this kit into 2 8-gig kits, so you can satisfy 2 systems that way to save money. I'm gonna go ahead and assume the entire kit of 16 gigs. I don't recommend any less than that. The graphics card, a Zotac GTX 1650 4 gig. Found this for about 85 USD, not terrible. I found an AGV 500 watt power supply. Yes, questionable, but the price is pretty good for around $38 brand new. Silicon power, $32 for a 512 gig NVMe. And as for the case, a Q300L from Cooler Master. I couldn't find the exact one used in the pre-built, but this is 40 bucks brand new. I think it's a no-brainer. If you add all of these prices up, our grand total is 410 USD, and this does not assume any shipping costs or tax. And you're gonna find that you'll have to pay shipping for at least half of the things you buy on eBay. In most cases, it usually won't amount to too much money, but something else to consider. And that's gonna throw us somewhere around $100 over the price we actually paid for the system in its quote-unquote broken state. Now, I'm not sure I would build this exact system even with used parts the way they are. I think the Core i5 is a bit too expensive, as is the B560 motherboard. I think you could build a better Ryzen-based system, frankly, for around the same money. But I think we did okay. I mean, considering what the individual parts are used today, if I wanted to part this system out, I could probably make a few bucks. I wasn't expecting that to be the case, but because we didn't have to put any money into it to get it working, I think that's a pretty sweet coincidence. That said, though, I'm definitely not going to be parting it out. It's not worth it, frankly, for me to part everything and sell everything individually to maybe scrape out $100, especially if I include free shipping and eat that cost on my end. We're going to give the system away instead. I am aware this is not a super expensive system. It's not, you know, like something to brag about across my social media platforms or anything. This is a used, older gaming PC, but to someone out there, it's sure to be a nice upgrade, or maybe a nice entry into PC gaming in general. And so I invite you, even if you have a system yourself, to enter the giveaway, because if you don't use the system, maybe you could give it to a friend or family member. I don't want to discourage anyone who might have nicer hardware, and I imagine a lot of my viewers already do. The way to enter the giveaway is going to be the same we've done in recent past. It's very simple. You'll actually navigate to our website via the link below, and it's going to walk you through the entry process. Pretty straightforward. I think we're just going to ask that you be subscribed, and maybe one other thing. That's about it. We're not going to use Gleam or anything like that, although it probably will remind you of Gleam a bit, the layout. So we've been trying to work on a system that makes giveaway entries simple and straight to the point. We're also going to open this up globally. If I cannot send you the system because you live in a country where it's very difficult to ship or too expensive, then I'll send you an equivalent Amazon gift card in place of that. And if you don't have Amazon access in your country, then I'll just PayPal you an equivalent USD value of this. I spent $330 on it. I'll PayPal you $330 if you win and I can't ship you the rig or send you an Amazon gift card. You can spend the money however you want. I really can't control that, so I'm not going to try to make any stipulations there, but I do want to make sure that everyone watching from anywhere on the planet where I can actually send things and communicate maybe not like North Korea. I want to make sure that all of you have a chance to participate. So again, thank you so much for your support. I know this is just a very, very small token of my appreciation back to you all, but this video ended in a way I didn't expect it to. And I think the way that I want to send you all off is with a mention of this system's gaming performance. I'm sure you're curious about that. It's been a while since we've seen these specs in the spotlight. And what better way of doing that than with 3D Mark? So we're gonna actually use Firestrike for this comparison. And TimeSpy, I think it only scores better than 10% of all submitted results on average. Remember, this combination of a Core i5-11400F and a GTX 1650. You'll find that even in Firestrike though, this is the 1080p version of the synthetic, the graphics card is actually the bottleneck. It tends to hold the CPU back a bit, so if you do happen to win this PC, or say you have a system like this already and you're wondering what to upgrade next, I would say the graphics card is a safe bet. That said, as is in Firestrike, the system scores better than 35% of all submitted results. That is on the lower side, especially for an older synthetic, but for the price we paid for this, again, just over $300, I'd say that ain't too bad. So while she certainly won't be a 4K powerhouse, 1080p, certainly 720p if you have like a lower resolution monitor, this is probably capable of higher refresh rate, lower resolution gaming, just because the CPU is gonna be the stronger of the two primary components in this rig. I still think that it's an okay start. And for somebody that doesn't have a gaming PC, this is gonna be a nice entry point. It's gonna give you a taste of what gaming PCs are, what they're capable of, the customizations involved. And of course, as with all desktop gaming PCs, you will also have an upgrade path. Actually, multiple paths here. The graphics card for the extra performance and the power supply for peace of mind. That's all for this one. Again, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to enter the giveaway to win this exact system. I'm gonna package it up myself. I'll even throw in a note or something for you if you want in the video description. That's where you can enter. Be sure to leave a comment if you enjoyed this one. Definitely didn't turn out again the way I thought it would, but it's a nice positive ending for a change, and it didn't require a ton of work. So yeah, I got lucky on eBay. That doesn't tend to happen too often. Again, thank you for watching. My name's Greg. Thanks for learning with me.